Hello, this is Compound Interest Stock Guy, and today in this video I'm just going to go through some of the comments and some of the subscribers and viewers, and I'm going to talk about uh, some YouTubers that are into the cannabis industry. I'm also going to be talking about the most dried flowers sold from October 4th to 24th in the OCS. So yeah, stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the bell down below, give me thumbs up, I appreciate it. I also want to disclose I'm not a financial advisor. This is just for entertainment information purposes. So yeah, basically there's a noise going on in the alarm in this place, so you're gonna hear it from time to time. I try to fix it, but I don't really want to mess it up. Uh, I've never had a problem fixing a smoke detector before, but I just had problems with that. I don't know. Again, I'm not a perfect person. So before, I also want to say that this is uh, a quarter ounce gold, 24, like it's 999 gold, and then this is a basil. So eventually I'm gonna get like a 22 karat or 18 karat gold necklace that's about 20 to 30 grams, so close to about like 2/3 to an ounce of gold from ideally like somewhere like an Indian place online in the States, but some of them don't want to ship to Canada. So yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I know there's a company called Seraph, and you can get 18 karat. So I may just get 18 karat. I've gotten a bracelet before that was 18 karat gold, and that came to Vancouver area. Anyways, let's go through the comments in some of the guys. So Jordan Sarutis, I think that's how you say it, is he commented it on my video. He says he's a big shareholder in Zena, 40,000 shares, and any thoughts on the bottom? And I say it may go to 5 to 15 cents because the markets are irrational. And one of the big commenters for my YouTube channel is definitely Five Finger Lid. Yeah, you get your five fingers, and then you get it out of that big bag, and then that's your weed. That's your ounce of weed. So go grab your 5 finger lid, baby. So yeah, he's a big commenter. He calls me Mad Max because Dave Modell has called me the Mad Max of YouTube. So yeah, he's been commenting, keeping in touch with me. Eduardo BR Sales, he's been asking me and talking to me about some stuff. Sounds like a very nice guy. Nedzet Mamutovik says to buy more HPT brother and earnings coming soon. And solid Madden and completely company undervalued, he says. And Leo Landscaper, he's saying that it's looking like a scam and he feels sorry for shareholders. It's crazy with Zena. Yeah, it's only time will tell. I personally, yeah, I mean, so far they're working with big companies, Tilray, and I know they got a lot of distribution, and I don't know. I don't think they're a complete scam, but as far as the stock's been doing, it just hasn't been doing very good based on just the shorts taking control and Ricky Brar selling, and just now with these negative press and just the financials probably aren't going to be very good coming up. So some of those just getting piled on as well as their debt being fairly high, not huge, but for the amount of money they could make in a year, I mean, it's going to be hard for them to pay off that debt. But I mean, if there's companies such as Suncor that's got, I don't know, like $10 billion in debt, I think, when I check their financials. So I mean, companies do have debt, but it just depends what the interest rates on the debt, which makes it very toxic, or a little more friendly. And Monica S, yeah, Zena's been pretty big disappointment. I agree. Five Finger. Well-rounded reviewer said he's heard my comments on Rich TV Live, and Sheldon Snow says if he was up on ACB and CGC, would you consider loading up on Labs or VGW or Afria, worried about Aurora? And I say it's hard to say what will be the best investment 6 months from now. ACB has debt concerns, but hard to say what will perform better in 2020. And I say I'd probably sell some and buy some VGW and Labs and BFF, but keep some ACB and Canopy. So, but yeah, Eduardo BR, Halo Labs is mentioned a couple times recently. They're struggling for cash now, and he thinks that Xena will come back, and but he may not back until there's a green light at the end of the tunnel, and I think that's wise, right? Just let things become a little more clear before you decide to invest. You never have to rush into buying or selling. Dave Modell, the most popular guy on YouTube that comments on my videos, says I got good information in this video, and well-rounded reviewer. He says he looks forward to my in-depth analysis videos. Five Finger and Eduardo BR. He's wondering about the relationship between Wayland and ICC. Hopefully there's still good things to come out from them in Europe, but I'm just keeping an eye on how this will unfold for now. Absolutely, I agree. I'll share some information now that that's on the topic of Wayland. So Wayland Group is this is the October 4th to the 24th, where online sales only for OCS, and these are in grams, so they're not in kgs, but the way to convert it is, I'm not going to do it for everyone, but you can do that yourself, is so like Canopy Growth sold 73,392, you divide that by 28 grams to get the kgs. And generally speaking, if you want to figure out a dollar sale for that, you could look at like anything from like $3 to like $7 or something like that for what these companies are making on their cannabis selling it. So and then you got Pure Sun Farms that did 66,000, and that's Village Farms. So they're really, garnering some market share and taking it from Aurora and Canopy. So yeah, that's pretty impressive. Aurora, 58,000. Afria, 41, almost 42,000. Organigram at about 37,000. And Hexo at about close to 12,000. And Tilray close to 9,000. And Keller Cannabis is 7,000. And Agmedica, I believe, is a public company. And Flower, which is the ticker Flower, FOWR, I believe, and that's pretty good amount. And Vivo is 4,600, and that's more than Chronos at 4,500. And DNA Genetics is also Canopy, so you can add that to the Canopy. So then you'd add 73,392 to 4,400. And the batch is a Tilray product as well, so you add that, so they're a little more closer to like 13,000, so they're a little more than Hexo in the OCS. And ReadyCan, which is private, and Supreme is 3878. And underneath that is Cryptologic, okay, 3161, which is Wayland. So Wayland is Cryptologic. So that's interesting. They're above Terrasan, Sundial, Emerald, Harvest One, Alethea, Green Organic Dutchman, and Whistler Canvas. So they're in the middle of the batch, right? I think they have the potential when they start growing a lot more to get up closer to this. Obviously these guys' numbers are gonna go up, but I mean I can see them really start to ramp up. It seems as though under this new management team, they are actually doing some moves. I mean, everybody thought that Wayland Group is dead, but they may have a chance. The $1 million question I also want to know about is if they're sending product to Canada Medical in Germany. Because if they are, that's going to be very beneficial for their revenues, right? When they're getting like 2 to 3 or 4 times per dollar every gram, that's pretty impressive. So that'll be very important. So we will see. I mean they're halted on the CSC, but you can trade them on the OTC. Yeah, it's pretty wild. I know they're getting money from Cry. They've gotten a loan, so it's hard to say how that's gonna work out. But I just gotta believe because I can't do anything with my shares. Coral Blue says it's huge as another disaster, and yeah, lots of thieves. And thank you for your update. And yeah, there are definitely a few thieves, and they all come in shapes, forms, unfortunately. And Samantha Barton says my leather jacket's great, and she's asking if I wear Levi jeans with it. Eduardo BR, and yeah, it's scary times. And Five Finger, you have to treat yourself once in a while. Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, if you get like, say if you have $100,000 or something like that, like what's the point in keeping it all tucked away in a file, right? I mean, you got to enjoy it a bit, but at the same time, people got to understand what their net worth is, right? If people only have like $5,000 to their name, they can't really be playing with a game as if they have $1 million and going out and spending like $300 out on the town, right? So it's all in perspective, understanding what your net worth is and how much money you have to live your life, because you have to live below your means if you want to get ahead financially. I mean, the only other way is in an inheritance um, or just winning the lottery. So that's basically the only way you can get rich is living below your means, making lots of money with your investments, just staying out of heavy debts. Those are the tools of the trade to really build your wealth. An investment could be building a company. If you're good in a certain trade or you have a certain skill and you start that company and you're building it, and all of a sudden you start making yourself for the company and you're paying yourself a wage and you're making money, that's a good company. So again, that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to have my own company one of these days, but for now I work and just try to stay low profile, not spend too much money. Mike Johnson, he's from South Carolina here. Sheldon Snow says the true price on an ounce of gold should be about 60,000 an ounce if it backed all the paper we printed. My mom kept a lot of the old Canadian coin as they were all 80% silver, and he loves that sound. Could pick it up, the sound of silver clinking. I agree, it's a nice sound. It's cool that I live near these prime locations. Look, I don't live near these prime locations. I don't have an address right now. I have a P.O. box to get some mail, and then all my mail also goes to my mom, and then she sends it to me. I'm gonna try to get a rental for a place in Prince George. Get a or somewhere up northern BC. I'm not sure Prince George, but somewhere around there, and live in a room and just stay low profile and live there for like 4 to 6 months or so, and then eventually move back to Vancouver Island, or else end up buying a house out there if I believe the investment can go up in price. So that's my life. But I have been driving around a lot for work and to see my family. My brother's got brain cancer, so right now I'm kind of seeing my brother a bit here and my family just for now. So they live out in Metro Vancouver, so I've been blessed to be able to go to see the Burb location that it opened like only like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I was able to see it already. So I've been able to go to Nova Cannabis stores. I've been able to go to Fire and Flower stores from Canmore, Alberta, to like drive by it out by Hinton, or where else was I at one? Probably Edmonton, and I forget. I've been to a few Fire and Flower stores, and I do like. Oh, I was out one by Edmonton. Uh, yeah, I mean I like Fire and Flower stores. I think they're the best stores. Well, besides the Burb, I think the Burb store is really legit actually. I think it's just that there's not enough Burb stores, but I actually think the Burb store could be it's probably better. It's just not very popular. Like there wasn't a lot of people in the store at the time I went, so it was. But when I was at the Fire and Flower store, maybe it was the time of the day too. But they both, I think, just the fact that it hasn't built, like they're not all over the place, and Fire and Flower has backing from Couche-Tard. So I really think as far as a retailer goes in Canada, I haven't been to the Meta stores, the National Access stores, or the Inner Spirit stores. So I haven't seen every store. I have seen the outside of an Inner Spirit store in Penticton, but that's I've been to stores from northern BC all the way to northern Alberta. So and being in like around Calgary and all that stuff. So yeah, I've been able to see a lot of stores, and I've been able to see some cannabis facilities, you know, all around, like from Okanagan all the way out to Metro Vancouver, like Village Farms, and all these other different locations because I'm interested in the industry. I don't look at it like, oh, I'm gonna necessarily get rich tomorrow, right? I look at it as in this is where I know the most knowledge, and eventually, I'm gonna find the companies that are gonna be the Amazons and in this space, and I'm gonna make money in the long term knowing how to play it. Like for the time being, it's being very cut and dry because basically it went from where it was all about hype to really fast towards where it mattered about profitability. And there was no memo about it, right? There wasn't really a memo to know like, oh, that's exactly how you have to play the cannabis sector. It was based on the institutions decided to really, change the moral of the game, where uh, net income matters, and it matters about how much cash a company has. Because if you look at all the companies that have lots of cash, those are the ones that haven't gotten destroyed and gone down like so much. Like even if you're seeing like Afria is going up, but they have like a lot of cash and they don't have so much debt or goodwill on the balance sheet. Whereas, Aurora's got a lot of goodwill on the balance sheet, so it needs to be written off eventually. So those are the things, but nobody gave anybody the memo, right? If but now that I know that, I have to just play by their rules, right? So if I'm gonna put dollars to work in this cannabis industry, like if I make money on companies that aren't profitable, I have to I have to move that money into companies that are profitable because that's how my brain works. That's the way that I see how you can make money in this industry going long. I mean, there's also a cyclical part about this industry, and now it's coming out to financials and stuff like that. But that's really how the industry is forming. So, but you look at it as in the fact that Apple makes $50 billion, or yeah, like $50 billion a year in net income, right? So when you got companies that like True Leaf that are doing like 80 or $100 million in net income in a year, well, that just means that they need to do like, I don't know, 500 times more profit, right? And yeah, that sounds like a lot, right? But Apple's worth $1 trillion. So if a company just has to grow like 500 times to be the next Apple, and I put a timeline on like 2043 when the industry will be $1 trillion, then yeah, we may have to go through some tough times where your stocks get killed and all that stuff from time to time. But eventually there'll be like so much bags of money for the people that held long into the companies that had good fundamentals, and they were making cash flow from the business. So that's the way my brain looks at it. And I also look that I can make money in the future uh, on call options and on put options when the stock gets way too overvalued, and then have long-term put options and making money that way too, right? So that's why I'm interested in knowing every facet of the industry, whether it's the financials or it's the industry in the future, whether it's the cannabis, how much they're growing, whether like if they have good cannabis, whether I think their products are going to be good. All those things come to mind. Anyways, I'm going to get through these comments. So, yeah, Sheldon Snow, uh, well-rounded reviewer. Mike Johnson. So Manny, the average investor, he's got his own YouTube channel, and he says it has great potential, but he's not a big fan of dilution. I agree. Dilution is never good. But you have to do what you have to do as a company to come out on top in this growing space. And I says, yes, dilution is never a great thing, but if the company's using the money, then it's not bad. And this guy also has a channel. He's kind of funny. I just kind of watch him for entertainment. But yeah, he does some day trading. But he's day trading with Chris. He doesn't really talk too much about the companies. He's just on a screen and he just does some like trading. So it's kind of entertaining. You can check him out. Passive Income Tom, he has his own channel too, and he says, thanks for sharing this on my part 1 base metal miners, precious metals, commodity players. Yeah, I've checked out his channel. He's like passive income, so how to make money with your money. Like I guess he probably has videos on like dividends and some other stuff, like maybe renting some extra pads. And Adam R, are you still holding Zenobis? And I'm like, yeah, I'm holding Zenobis. And Mr. Modell, and he says in the copper sector, FCX is quite cheap. It's amazing to think that it was once a $60 stock. And yeah, look, if copper starts making a big move, it has a chance to go back up to like 15 to 20 to 25 to 30 to 40, right? It all depends on the price of copper. Like if the copper price doubles tomorrow, then it's going to be worth a ton of money. It could be worth 30 to 50 bucks if it doubles tomorrow at $5 or so. So absolutely, I do agree. FCX has great potential. It's been around. And Scott Sycamore, he says that he hasn't heard from Kushko anymore, and he says he likes Planet 13 warrants for September 21. And his second tier list includes Vireo, Plus Products, and Dionymed. Interesting. I personally wouldn't touch Dionymed right now. I think it's just too unpredictable. Plus Products, I would look at it. I don't know if I'll buy it just because just the valuation. I haven't really seen any great financials like revenue yet, but if I start seeing them make a good net income, then absolutely I would look at getting a position in the company. Anyways, I'm done with going through these comments because this is like 3 weeks old. But yeah, I'm just sharing some of my comments that I've responded to, and yep. So another thing I'm going to talk about which YouTubers I kind of follow and the reasons why I follow them. I follow Mickey D because he goes to these locations and he's in USA, so I I'm he doesn't do any of the charts or anything like that. Like I wish he kind of did the charts a little bit maybe. Um, but I do like his videos for the most part. I don't watch all the videos of his or whatever, but I subscribe to his channel. Um, yeah, check out his channel, Mickey D. Rich TV. I like it because the channel he's got a lot of live chat videos. So if you go on live, then there's other people chatting, and you get like to hear what they're thinking or whatever, and hear what Rich is thinking or whatever, whether I disagree or agree with him on a lot of things. Yeah, pretty much. Departures Capital. I used to watch more of his videos. I haven't been watching much of his videos lately. I My biggest critique on Departures Capital is that I don't think he's not really like completely down on understanding the cannabis industry. I mean, I think he understands financials, like he understands like when a company, but as far as just being like so hyper about ACB, and I don't know, he's got a good channel. And Cyberworld 7, I watch his videos from time to time. Some of his videos aren't very good, like they're just kind of like put together, and they're just like, I don't know, they're just rambling on about nothing, and just so I don't know. Sometimes he doesn't really think about what he's saying, and I could be guilty for that too, right? But for the most part, I definitely try to talk about like things that are really thought up about, and I've like done my research on. I don't like talk like I don't say a company is profitable when they're not profitable, right? Because I have to go, like, this is my reputation. I have to go and look into the financial statements and make that certain, right? Because okay, a company can be profitable on like few different scales, right? They could be profitable on EBITDA, but that doesn't mean that they're profitable on the business, right? Because EBITDA is earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, assets. So if their depreciation is really bad, or they have lots of interest or all this other stuff like and taxes, then they're going to end up having a net loss. Even if like so, um, yeah, I mean, but anyways, yeah, Cyberworld 7, he goes to like Aurora's, I like that, to the facility, drives there, and I don't know, he pretty much knows like a ton about Aurora. I'll give him the credit. Like I don't think there's a YouTuber that knows as much about Aurora as he probably does. Um, and I don't know, but some of the things, like he goes all in on MedMen, and then he just like sells, or all this stuff is just kind of like irrational, right? But I wish them the best. And like there's some guys that got charts, and I find some of the guys that talk about cannabis a lot, that cannabis stocks, that just talk about charts for the most side, like even if they have like some due diligence reports or something like that, I find that they're not really like fully understand the industry. Like I find that they don't really, they miss things, right? I mean, I miss things too, but basically they they sound like so confident in what they're saying as like a fact, and that they couldn't be wrong, and then but that they never really like put in any effort or any research to find out if what they're saying is true. So like guys will say, oh well, BAM and uh Trueleaf and Labs and Charlotte's Web are the only companies that are profitable, and then forget like VGW or Labs. I mean, not VGW, but yeah, VGW, like Village Farms, GRWG, CVSI, even Cerna is profitable. That's the cheapest company that I know of that's profitable in the cannabis space. That's SRNA. I made money on SRNA. I will potentially get into a position again, but I kind of want to wait on their next financials. But yeah, they're on the OTC, and you know, I think that company could really be turning up. But I'm gonna wait and see. Um, but yeah, like the best guy for charts, if you want to watch a guy for charts for cannabis, is Dan the Chart Guy. So yeah, that's my opinion on kind of some cannabis YouTubers. Look, I'm not trying to piss on any YouTuber who's a cannabis YouTuber. Um, and you know, if you follow their channel or whatever, don't get butthurt or get mad at me or whatever. Not trying to. I'm just saying my opinion. How and I don't. I mean, some guys on YouTube they'll say, well, like I don't even watch any other YouTuber. I just watch myself or whatever. Like I just do my thing. And I don't think that's the best attitude because I think it's doesn't hurt to have other people's opinions. The way I passed and I got my red seal and I persevered even though I got learning difficulties and stuff like that and I was able to get 2 red seals. It it was from having like a big heart, right? Having a big heart and not giving up because and basically what I learned was I have to idolize people, you know, there's like certain people look up to, right? Like people like this person, this person, this person, and this person. And going through the apprenticeship, I listen to lots of people, right? You know, they teach me stuff. I learn from that person. Maybe some person I don't want to listen to, right? And I ignore them, right? Other than like when I work with them, you know, work quarterly. But as far as, you know, like doing what they do, no, I realize like that's not really rational. But I get my own opinion now and I'm able to think for myself based on like all the other like stimulus around in the world. So I'm not arrogant to say that I don't watch any other YouTubers. And um yeah, I mean those are the guys that really talk about the cannabis industry. There's other people that do talk about cannabis companies. I mean like David Modell talks about cannabis companies and you know there's other YouTubers that slightly like what's his like Justin Siliker. He's got a pretty big YouTube channel and he used to talk a lot about cannabis companies and I subscribe to his channel. I think he's a pretty smart guy. But he doesn't follow the industry that much. Like he follows other companies too, right? So um he hasn't been putting out a lot of content. So I mean I haven't really been watching him in a long time. But I used to watch some of his videos just to see what he's saying, whether like I agree with what he's doing, like with his moves or not. But you know, it's good to know what other people are thinking, right? If a company's really, you know, has some positive light into it, you can get some perspective from other people, right? And yeah, that's pretty much what I want to talk about for this video about, you know, just going through about the comments of some people that watch my channel and then talk about Wayland, how they're actually growing a fair amount. You know, now they're selling towards the OCS. Like that's only 20 days, and they already you know sales. So it's not just even having it there. So that's pretty decent. You know, having that's like 110, 120 kilograms just in Ontario online. So maybe there could be like double that, right, on a month basis. So it's like 220 in just Ontario, right? So whether they're in Alberta right now or some other provinces, maybe like Manitoba, I mean, that could be decent. Like maybe they're getting, I don't know, maybe like $1 to $2 million in revenue every month. So I hope they are. I'm not sure. You know, the financial statements needs to come out, and there need to be more clarity on what's going on with Wayland. But and then I talk about my some YouTubers that talk about cannabis stocks a lot, and if I watch their channel. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. Keep compounding your info and listen to my lingo. And until next time, peace. I'm out.